you haven't met him already, this is Yankel, my 1991 Volkswagen Golf with just 37,000 miles. And in this video, I'm going to show you everything that's wrong with him. Everything. All right, let's start with the body. We've got the trifecta: bad paint, rust, and dents. Right here, we've got this big dent. We are missing a lot of the body trim. So like this stuff is supposed to go over this wheel well. There's a bunch of rust and Bondo there. Lots of rust down there. This bumper isn't exactly hooked up tightly because, well, it's held together by a big zip tie. And if we move to the front, well, the front's even worse because it's not exactly hooked up tight at all. But I did convert to single rounds because it's cute. Sometimes when it rains, you can see a little bit of water makes it through here. My favorite part about this car is that right here on the bottom of the car, that's not connected, and that's a structural piece. I tried to salvage the clear coat here, but I sanded it for 2 seconds and we just went straight to primer. So this whole car needs a respray. One of my favorite things about this car is this tire here has a habit of deflating very slowly. Let's move on to the interior. If you look closely here, you'll notice that, well, we're missing the speaker grill, presumably because every time the previous owner got in, he kicked it. This trim here refuses to stay up. We've got an aftermarket radio, which stinks. For whatever reason, and I can't figure it out for the life of me, setting number 4 doesn't work on the HVAC. Anytime you try to roll up this window, well, it gets caught. And there's too much play in there. See, I have this piece of trim, but it keeps falling off. My favorite feature of this car is the wipers. Well, they only have 1 speed and they don't park. The dash is overall in decent shape, but you do have a few cracks here and there. The previous owner tried to solve the sagging headliner with thumbtacks, and that looks about as good as you'd think it would. This door is missing the trim that's supposed to go along here, so it just kind of looks naked. And in the trunk, well, I don't have the third taillight. I mean, I do. It's right there. It's just every time I try to reattach it so it doesn't dangle, it falls down, so nah. Not that I listen to music too much in this car, but when I do, neither of the rear speakers work. Can't figure that out. Want to see something gross? By the way, all this is flour. I gotta clean that up. Here's that trim. Ew, ew. Just go. Ah! I'm missing the bolt for this seat belt, which goes right down there. So only 3 working seat belts in this car. Oh, I forgot to mention, but the horn doesn't work. The way the steering wheel works is, see this metal bit? When this metal touches this metal, the horn activates because it completes the circuit. And after I replaced this steering wheel, the pad that it came with was worn thin. So I was at Costco one time and I started the car up and the horn was just blasting.
Give it a go.
Oh, sh There's a car coming behind us. Okay. Oh my God! In an old car, they said. No one said that. I put myself into this position. Oh. I tried to fix it with this padding. Obviously it didn't work and it just started blasting another time. So I still got to figure that out, but for now I don't have a horn. And last but certainly not least in the interior, the AC doesn't work. All right, let's move on to the fun stuff. Obviously you saw at the start of the video that there was a bunch of oil smoke out the exhaust. That's because the valve stem oil seals, which are up in the head here, are toast. The old brake proportioning valve in this car was rusted to pieces, so I had to replace it with these inline valves here. That was fun. And if you've watched my other videos regarding this car, you'll know that my favorite problem with it is the jerking.
Okay.
One of my favorite things about these old engines is since the spark plugs are like right here, you could just like make it misfire. Just recently I noticed that, well, the radiator started leaking. Yeah, that like blue crap, that's coolant that's leaked and burnt. Oh yeah, see all that blue gunk? I really wanted to show you guys how much smoke comes off of the engine from the leaking valve cover, but for once it stopped, so I don't know. But otherwise she idles pretty good and she revs good too. I just turned the engine off and I can see the tiniest bit of smoke Does that show up on camera? You know, believe it or not, this car actually used to be in way worse shape, and I've put a shit ton of effort to making this thing drivable, which at this point it is. Road legal? Maybe not, but drivable, yes. But if it isn't clear, we have a long ways to go. So if you want to support this project, go ahead and check me out on Patreon. Wahoo! Yeah.